But there you go. Now we're
Mine says
live.
live now.
Good. All right. This
Nice.
is
We got a live one on our hands, boys.
our podcast, episode 2, coming at you.
Oh yeah, we should like number these and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well,
this one's
whatever.
number two.
This is all going to be done after the fact anyway, because we'll figure it out later. But today we are talking about if.
Well, we were supposed to be talking about our favorite quotes, so I still might go off topic on that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah, so originally it was our favorite quotes, and then kind of degenerated down into I was just going to read the poem If, because that's pretty much my favorite quote, and I think you're pretty much 100% on that one, too. So.
Yep. It's a fantastic poem. If you guys haven't read it, I recommend highly reading it over. It has clarified much of life for me and whatnot. So, Gavin, if you want to...
Sure. Actually, maybe I'll read it and then I'll give the background. I like the story of how I first read it, but yeah. So this is the poem If by Rudyard Kipling. Alright, it's from some book he wrote. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, or think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth that you have spoken, twisted up by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, stoop, and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings, and risk it in one turn of pitch and toss, and lose, and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there's nothing left in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute, worth of 60 seconds distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Chills.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much to it, right? Like, there's just... Anyway.
Well, the story of how I first read it was just at your house, and it's just sitting near the door somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
And I had just passed it like 100 times, and there's just, there's random pictures and all kinds of stuff up, and like, I don't know. I must have stood there and just stared at it, like, waiting for you to go somewhere, meeting up with you or whatever, just waiting at your front door.
Yeah.
I must have stared at it like 100 times, and it's one of those things where, like, I feel like it somehow crept into my subconscious, or crept into my head. And I don't know why, but my first instinct, I think because you have like religious stuff in your house too, and I'm not Christian or religious at all. My first instinct was like, it's probably some Bible thing I don't care about, right? So I just kind of like, I don't know. I just kind of saw it and like whatever. And then I don't know, like one day I like a thought came to me, and I felt like it was from there, and then I can't remember where, but I saw it somewhere else, and I read it, and I was like, holy shit, I feel like I've known this thing my whole life. And I think it's because I'd seen it so many times there.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that feels like it's been with you. And it's like the first time I sat down and read it through, it doesn't feel like I'm learning a new thing. It was like a revelation, but it's not like a revelation. It's like, you ever get that you hear a song for the first time and you're like, I have known this song my whole life.
It's an affirmation. It's something that you already knew in some way, some vague term that was put directly in front of you, so you could be like, that's exactly it. That's how you like become something, or a man, or like if I can keep my head when all about me are losing theirs and blaming it on me, right? Like that's just like, that's tough. And like each line is a challenge. Like it's a straight up like challenge to you for what you like. Yeah. What you you should be doing.
I think that's. Oh, see, there's something interesting. I think that's. Sorry, I'm just hopping away for a second. I think that's what I like so much about it, is that it's not a commandment.
Yeah.
It's not a commandment. It's not saying to live the best life, you must do X, Y, Z. what it's really saying is that, sorry, one sec. It's giving you a challenge. It's giving you a challenge, and it's not saying you must meet these requirements. It doesn't, I mean, that is implicitly what it says, but it's not saying, in order to be a man, you must do this. It's not saying, like, you have to do this, and then you can say, it's just saying, or sorry, it is saying if, but it's not a commandment, it's not a requirement, it's not a, oh, dude, you should be doing this. It's a challenge. If you want to get to this level, if you want to be this coveted thing, this thing that we're talking about, this thing that you hear so much about, this is the mountain you have to climb. And like you said, I love it. Every single line is a new challenge to you.
Yeah. No,
and sorry, go ahead.
On top of that, it's especially the time that we found this poem was that point when you're like 16 or 17, when you're like, everyone's like, oh, you have to grow up, and like no one's ever really defined that for me, or like given me a good explanation of what a grown-up is. And like, I mean, you talk to any grown-up, even me right now, and I'm 27, like I don't really know what a good grown-up is or whatever. Right. This was the first thing that gave me direction, in the sense that like I had something that I could, right, like there's a higher thing. It's not just like, oh, get good grades in school and like graduate and like go to this.
Those always seem very shallow and semantic.
Yeah, well, and that's why I rebelled against it the whole freaking way through.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna waste my time and energy like trying to conform to your society when everyone tells me that your society sucks. Like,
and there's all this confusing information out there about, there's super successful people, and it's always like, oh, they're the mavericks. They're the ones who think for themselves. And it's like, oh, okay, so that's successful. But if I think for myself, I get constantly punished. And, like, now I sort of understand that dynamic better in terms of that's how you become an outlier, right? You're not going to, if you perform averagely and you don't step outside the lines, you're not going to become excellent.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can't possibly become excellent. But But in order to do that, stepping outside the lines isn't just an arbitrary, like, oh, I'll just do something slightly different. The whole point, the reason everybody doesn't just do that and become super successful is because it's painful. Yeah. You have to actually be separated from people around you. People around you will dislike it, and they will try and stop you. They will try and convince you not to. Nobody steps out there. Everyone always talks about, oh, came from the bottom, now I'm here, people haters, whatever. Honestly, I don't think there's that many direct haters. There's how many people do you ever actually, if you tell them a grandiose plan, how many people actually be like, oh, that's not going to work?
No, it's all...
Nobody says that. It's all the little fucking, the little nagging things. The little like, oh, that's a good idea.
It's not even that. It's projection of an insecure state from the perspective of having confidence of achieving it. Like when you haven't achieved it, you're the negative person. Like, that's the thing. Most people don't give a flying fuck about you, right? Like, they care about you so much as they want you to stay the same, in the sense that they don't want you to change too radically, so they don't know what to do with you.
That's a survival mechanism as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, you can't even blame people for that, right? But like, you get them when they finally succeed and they have to drop off of their friends who can't keep up with them anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah.
We have this like, oh, look, they hated me the whole time, and they just are so jealous of my success.
Yeah. Everyone's a hater. Everyone wants to keep me down, but I made it to the top anyway. Yeah. I find that whole trope. I get it. I get where it comes from, but it seems silly, and it seems kind of negative.
I think it's essential, in a sense. Really? Like, especially if you're insecure, like it's some way of solidifying the fact that you're at this level now, and you're not going to go back there. Right, yeah. You got to be careful with it, because if you overcompensate and become too arrogant or egotistical about it, then you haven't learned anything. But Bill Gates can't like go and hang out with his childhood friends, kind of thing. Like that's not a dynamic.
You don't know that. I mean, maybe he can. I have no idea.
I meant like there's a level for it now. Like there's one guy, There's one guy who's changed the world significantly, and everyone knows about it, versus like his next door neighbor that grew up with. I'm sure there's still room in his life in certain circumstances, but it's like they're not operating at the same level.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Anyway.
I understand. I'm just looking at the poem again.
One thing I wanted to say about this, though, is like, just to reiterate it, it's like each one of these lines is like a complete challenge to yourself, and it's not easy ones. Like these are things that I struggle with to this day, you know. And I've known this poem, how good it is, how effective it is for like, you know. But like, you know, if I can bear to hear the truth that I've spoken, if I told some like truth to people and they twist it around and throw it in my face, that gets me. That gets me so hard and so angry so fast that I cannot even begin to deal with it. Like it's, and like this is like saying like, yeah, you deal with it.
And to me, that feeling right there, if you can bear to hear the truth that you've spoken, twisted up by knaves to make a trap for fools, to me that is the essence of what the hyper political correctness, SJW, whatever, you know what I mean, like hyperactive, politically correct movement. That's the essence of that. That is the essence of that, right? That is literally knaves twisting up, like you say something. And it could be, you know, there's a celebrity, whoever, somebody tweets something. Sometimes it's an offhanded joke that may be inappropriate. Who knows? Who gives a shit? But sometimes it's a genuine thought, like, hey, what about this? You know, does this seem fair? Or, you know, men sometimes do this, or women sometimes do this. And you're just speaking the truth.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that what you're saying is 100% factually correct, but you're just speaking the truth in the sense that you're phrasing something that came to your head. And every single time it gets pounced on by hordes of people, and it is to make a trap for fools. I think that's the important thing to keep track of. It's not, I don't think that the political correctness, 90% of the time, I don't ever see it as being an actual problem. And I don't think they see it as being an actual problem. This isn't an actual hurt that is being rectified. This isn't an actual problem that's being solved. What it is a trap. It's a way of achieving another end, right? It's a secondary means to an end. It's a way of getting people to feel sorry for you, or to feel sorry for someone else, or to help secure funding for something, or to help sway public opinion so that you have more power in a certain section of life or in society. And maybe sometimes that's very valid. I mean, of course there's times where it's very valid, right?
Yeah.
Like there's times when there's extreme discrimination, and it's valid to try and make people feel bad about that, right? Like that the technique isn't completely like bad, I don't think. Right? Like if people are being really discriminatory and horrible, draw attention to it, make them feel like shit, and hopefully they'll stop acting like such dicks.
Yeah, but there's totally a use for that, you know, like that's
but that's I feel like that should be the explicitly stated use. You know, it should be like just out and out say it. Be like, look, this is something where people are getting hurt, and X, Y, Z, you know, this other group of people needs to stop being hurtful and stop attacking them, right? Like if you're attacking someone, that needs to stop. But instead it's always this sort of implication, and that's why it's the twisted up by knaves to make a trap. Like it's not a direct thing. It doesn't talk about necessarily being insulted, because like who cares? I feel like that's implied in this whole poem. You know, yeah. It's more about this specific instance that he talks about, and I think that's really valuable because it seems oddly specific, but it's an incredibly powerful and horrible experience to think that you're speaking with logic, and to think that you're speaking to equals, and to then have somebody take exactly what you said and use that as a way of attacking you or attacking other people on your behalf, which is just as bad or worse, right?
Yeah, no.
Like the amount of times that's happened where there's been like a feminist writer or a blogger who said something or come up with a term or come up with an idea, and you know, it's not meant to be an attack. It's just an explanation of like a thing that happens in life or a thing that they've experienced or talked about. And then it gets dragged into this by a whole movement of like Tumblrists and all this stuff. And it gets turned into like a weapon to attack people with. And it's like, and half the time I've seen like the original person be like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. This was just my way of explaining.
Yeah. No, and they extrapolate
or something. And then it becomes a way of attacking all men. And it's just, what?
Yeah. No, yeah, and I mean that's a really good illustration of that one. Yeah, and what I've noticed about this too is like more often than not, this is how I see the heroes of my life fall. You know, it's one of these that trip them up, like almost without exception. You know, and I'm sure like people in the audience or whatever have experienced like. Especially this one, like if you can make a heap of all your winnings and risk it on a turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginning and never breathe a word about your loss, the whole idea of risking and like building your future and then like losing it and just getting on with it, like who cares, you know, like people get broken because of that, like and absolutely get like shut down, start drinking, whatever, and it's like no, like this is like you need to just get over. Or like he has another one that's like,
Well, so I just want to actually back to that one just there. The way I see that one, and I don't think maybe Rudyard Kipling. I have no idea because I don't know enough about him. I don't know if he explicitly meant to say that, but the way I always see that one is really emphasizing the importance of human capital. And that might sound like it's not really the point, but I kind of think it is the point.
explain.
The point is that the thing that makes you, or at least hopefully the thing that makes you the most valuable, is your human capital. And your human capital, in the basic sense, I think of when the word is first used, is originally just things like how you can contribute to a potential business, right? Like human capital for me would be I know how to do sound, right? So I can mix bands, I can engineer like studio stuff. That's capital, and it's an asset that I have that you can't exactly take away without brain damaging me, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a skill that I have. But I think in the greater sense, the human capital, like as I've learned way more about this and everything, is your ability to interact and communicate cleanly with other people, right? Like that's a great example of super valuable human capital. That's going to be valuable in any business and is going to be valuable in any interaction. I mean,
Yeah.
when I was younger, I used to think about things like that, like the apocalypse and things ending, and it's always about what happens if everything goes away, right? Kind of like this line: if you lose everything in that one turn,
Yeah.
right? You've got your whole life, you've got everything laid out, and then you lose it all. What happens to you? But now I don't ever fear that. I don't ever fear that. I have
Yeah.
friends, and not just I have friends. It's not like I have people I know, but I know that I have people in my life who I couldn't ever starve to death. I couldn't ever lose everything because
Yeah.
even if everyone I knew lost everything, between me and the people that I care about, there's so much human capital.
Yeah.
I could go out tomorrow and start some kind of business selling something to someone and making money off of that.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, I can make profit no matter what. It's like I don't imagine a world under which I could fail as long as there's other humans to interact with. And to
Yeah.
me, that's what the risking everything in pitch and toss is about. Is it's very easy to devalue yourself and start valuing, I have this job, and I have this object, I have this car, I have this house, I have these things.
Yeah.
And as demonstrated to me today, when a whole bunch of those things kind of changed,
Yeah.
you can lose all those things.
Yeah.
Your microphone just went down.
Oh, did it? Is it up?
Yeah, you're really quiet.
Oh, I don't know what the hell's going on with it. One
Do
second.
you want to pause or turn it off for a minute?
I don't think there is a pause. Is that better?
It's hard. I can't really. Yeah, you're there, but you're just really quiet.
Okay, well, hold on a second. Okay. I don't know what the hell's going on with this thing. Anyway, I'll just speak louder.
No, it's like really quiet.
Okay, fuck.
Like it's not usable.
Oh, well, I don't have...
Just give me a second here. I don't know. I'll just edit it out. Who cares? Fix it in post. Fix it in post production. That's always the best way to do it, right? All right. Yeah, I kind of want to move on to another poem. You mentioned Ozymandias, so I'm just going to pull that up right now. Do you want to just kill the live for now? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I can't hear you. Just kill it. Kill it. Kill it. Nope. Nothing. Nope.
Hello.
Oh, something happened.
Is that better?
Nope, still super quiet.
I have no fucking idea why.
Oh, there we go.
It might just be the settings adjusting themselves.
Oh, you know what? I think it was on my end. Yeah, it was.
Oh, I hate you.
Okay,
I hate you so much.
let's end this and do another one.
Okay.